You almost ignored it again, didn't you? That small feeling, that quiet discomfort that didn't seem big enough to matter. The kind of feeling you can easily brush off, explain away, distract yourself from. But it came back, not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to make you pause for a second before continuing like nothing happened. And that's exactly why this matters. Because what you've been experiencing lately isn't random. It's not just mood. It's not just stress. And it's definitely not something you should keep ignoring. There's been a pattern. Moments where something feels slightly off, even when everything looks normal. Conversations that seem fine on the surface, but leave you feeling unsettled afterward. Situations you used to be comfortable in that now carry a quiet tension you can't explain. And instead of stopping to understand it, you've been trying to adjust to it, telling yourself, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm overthinking, maybe I just need to relax. But listen carefully, that feeling didn't come from nowhere. Pause for a moment. Think about the last time you felt it. Where were you? Who were you around? What exactly shifted in that moment? Because if you're honest with yourself, there was a change. Subtle, but real. And you felt it instantly. Before your mind had time to analyze it, before you could rationalize it, your awareness picked up on something. That's the part you've been ignoring. You see, not everything that feels uncomfortable is meant to be fixed. Some things are meant to be noticed. And right now, you're being asked to notice. This is not fear. This is not insecurity. This is discernment beginning to activate in a deeper way than you're used to. And the reason it feels unfamiliar is because you've spent so much time trying to stay comfortable that recognizing misalignment now feels like a disturbance. But it's not a disturbance. It's clarity, trying to reach you before something becomes more complicated. Because the truth is, you've already sensed more than you've allowed yourself to admit. There have been moments where something didn't sit right, and you knew it. But instead of trusting that first instinct, you gave the situation more chances than your intuition ever did. You try to understand it logically. You try to give people the benefit of the doubt. You try to maintain peace, even when something inside you felt unsettled. And now, that quiet discomfort has become more consistent, not stronger in intensity, but stronger in presence. It shows up more often now, more noticeable, more persistent, because it's no longer asking for your attention, it's requiring it. This is where things begin to shift, because what you're feeling is not just about the situation in front of you. It's about what your awareness has grown into. You're starting to recognize energy, not just behavior. You're starting to feel alignment, not just appearances. And that changes everything. Because once you can feel the difference, you can't unfeel it. This is where many people get confused. They think something is wrong because things no longer feel the same. But what's actually happening is that you're no longer able to ignore what doesn't align. And that can feel uncomfortable, especially when it involves people, places, or situations you've been connected to for a long time. But listen carefully. That discomfort is not there to create distance for no reason. It's there to create awareness before something drains you further. There are things around you right now that no longer match who you are becoming. Not because they're bad, not because they're wrong, but because they no longer align with your current level of clarity. And your awareness is picking that up before your life fully reflects it. That's why it feels subtle. That's why it's hard to explain. That's why you've been questioning it. Because it hasn't fully revealed itself externally yet, but internally, you already know. And this is the moment where you have a choice. You can continue to silence that feeling, or you can start listening to it without immediately trying to dismiss it. You don't need to make sudden decisions. You don't need to confront everything all at once. But you do need to stop pretending that what you feel isn't real. Because the longer you ignore it, the louder it will become. not to overwhelm you, but to make sure you don't miss what it's trying to show you. There is a reason you feel at ease in some places and slightly tense in others. There is a reason certain conversations leave you energized and others leave you drained. There is a reason your energy shifts around specific people, even when nothing obvious is happening. And that reason is not random. You are becoming more aware, more sensitive to what is genuine and what is simply familiar. And that distinction is what your discomfort is trying to teach you. Because familiarity can feel safe, even when it's no longer right for you. And alignment can feel uncomfortable, especially when it requires change. That's the tension you've been feeling. Not confusion, but transition. You are outgrowing certain patterns, certain dynamics, certain environments, before your external life has fully caught up to that internal shift. And that gap is where discomfort lives. But listen carefully, discomfort is not your enemy here. It's your signal. It's showing you where something needs your attention before it turns into something that requires your recovery. You don't need to label it immediately. You don't need to explain it perfectly, but you do need to respect it, because that feeling has been accurate more times than you realize. Think back. There were moments in your past where you felt something early but ignored it, and later you understood why it was there. This is one of those moments again. Only this time, you're being given the chance to recognize it earlier, to respond with awareness instead of reflection. And that changes your direction completely. So if something has been feeling slightly off lately, if there's a quiet discomfort you haven't been able to shake, if you've been trying to convince yourself that it's nothing, pause. You don't need to react. You don't need to overanalyze. Just acknowledge it, because the moment you stop dismissing what you feel is the moment clarity begins to form. And once clarity forms, your next steps won't feel confusing anymore. They'll feel natural. They'll feel right. They'll feel aligned with who you are now, not who you used to be. And that's what this is really about. Not fear, not doubt, not overthinking. Awareness, growing into a version of yourself that no longer ignores what it feels. If this message feels like it's describing something you've been quietly experiencing, you don't have to explain it to anyone else, but you can acknowledge it to yourself. Even something as simple as writing 111 in the comments, not for others, but as a small confirmation that you're choosing to trust what you feel now. Stay aware, stay grounded, and don't ignore the feeling that keeps returning, because it's not there by accident.